Men have just discovered something. For 100,000 years, it was buried in the snow and ice. Now it has found a place to live, inside, where no one can see it, or hear it, or feel it.
I know I'm human. Some of you are still human. This thing doesn't want to show itself. It wants to hide inside an imitation. It'll fight if it has to, but it's vulnerable out in the open. If it takes us over, then it has no more enemies. Nobody left to kill it. And then it's won.
You guys gonna listen to Gary? He can be one of those things!
Okay, so carrying on from last week, we're still celebrating the 35th anniversary of the summer of 1982 with John Carpenter's The Thing. You know, like I said, I don't watch a lot of horror movies, but this is a movie where it's a little different. This is a sci-fi horror film. And just to give you a little bit of a brief synopsis about the movie, it's about these 12 guys that are stationed in Antarctica. They're doing scientific research and just various things are going on. And plus, it's right on the brink of when they are switching into the winter season in Antarctica. And we get a sense that, well, we don't get a sense, but we see that communication is very limited. Resources are very scarce. And just it's rough conditions, and plus the guys that are there on this base, cabin fever is starting to set in with these men. There is no women in this cast. This is an all-male cast. This film stars Kurt Russell playing one of the he's actually the helicopter pilot by the name of McCready. But the film opens up that there's this dog running from a helicopter, and these guys in the helicopter, they're from a Norwegian base doing the same thing that the Americans are doing, but they're chasing down this dog, and they start shooting at it. And then later on come to find out that the dog was infected by a mysterious alien creature that has the ability to mutate. It can grab on to somebody and just become a part of them. Matter of fact, it becomes a perfect recreation of whatever creature it devours. Everything from its behavior down, to the last fiber of its hair, even its emotions. And of course, they try to figure out how to kill this thing by the end of the movie. But it's never fully clear whether they kill this thing or not, because the movie ends with this cliffhanger. Is one of the characters a thing, or are they human? It has that type of an ending. And of course, there have been other films and other sources, like comic books and other books that have come out since this movie that added on to the story. But in this film, it's a fun movie to watch. It's gross out. It definitely deserves its R rating. It's definitely a gross out movie, and it's a movie you have to take your eyes off the screen because some of the gore does get pretty gruesome. But here's the thing with the thing. I know I'm quoting Zara Nizrak, but the only time that you see gore on screen, it has to do with an autopsy and or when you see the creature transforming. Now, because of the limitations in special effects, which are pretty darn good for its time, it's usually at the beginning of the mutation or after the mutation. Just about as the mutation has almost completed. The special effects in this film were done by Rob Bottin and his creative genius of puppetry and just special effects know-how, that using puppets and some stop motion animations in there too by Albert Whitlock. There's a lot more practical effects rather than post-production effects. There is some post effects, like there's some stop motion animation, there's some matte paintings, and the opening sequence is a spaceship crashing into Earth. So obviously that had to be done in post with some miniatures and matte paintings and things like that, and run through an optical printer. And plus some of the effects, the puppetry, shooting things backwards, and it just creates this awesome effect of that you believe what you're seeing, really. But John Carpenter's The Thing. When this came out, this is another thing I want to add, is that when this came out, this was not a successful movie. It was actually a box office bomb. I looked it up. It opened up at number 8 on the top 10 films of that particular weekend. It came out the same weekend as a Blade Runner, actually, and it was a film that gained its popularity later on in home video, and these next 3 movies are going to be the movies that really benefited from home video, because E.T. took the summer. E.T. took the summer of 1982, and plus the films after that, while they had a hard time really finding an audience because everybody was going to go see E.T. over and over and over again, while this film came out soon after and barely did anything. And matter of fact, Universal was not very happy with John Carpenter. They had him slated to direct another film And once they found out, once this film was released and didn't do so well, they fired him from that film. And so, and it was not critically praised until, years later. It was really trashed upon. But it has gained in popularity that it'll probably it'll be on whatever we're watching movies on for decades to come. Matter of fact, this is the old Universal Blu-ray release. Shout Factory has since done a better release through their Scream Factory brand, and they have a lot more behind-the-scenes content. Now, this has a documentary on it, but the downside is it's a picture-in-picture featurette that it only plays when you watch the movie. It pops up in the screen. It's actually an old DVD documentary that they've cut together and trimmed and fit, and they put it in, like when they're talking about certain subjects in the film, they put that in as the film plays at that specific scene. And I know for some people it got on people's nerves that they did that. But I think that documentary is on the Shout Factory release. Don't quote me on that. But I think it's just an entire... I like I said, don't quote me on that. And but it is on here, but it's a pop-up feature. But yeah, John Carpenter's The Thing still holds up effects-wise. Yeah, there's some, like I said, a few stop-motion animation things that don't hold up, but the puppetry and the creativity behind it still holds up. I mean, it's the creature designs and things of that nature, that still holds up. I don't care how much CGI they can throw at a movie. It's not the same as good old hands-on craftsmanship. So, from me to you, see you later.